Hi everybody, this is Marie, one of your Sherri Baldy's Color-ology colorists. Today we're going to be coloring white, and I know what you're thinking, but white does not always have to be boring. We're going to be using this adorable My Besties image. It's an image 396, and I color the little nautical mermaid. That's just a name I gave her. And so there are a few things that we need to think about before we start coloring our image white. Number one, white is the easiest of all colors to color because you only color the shadows. So take a little bit of time before you begin to color to determine where you want to have your shadows, your highlight source. This will be important, and then stay consistent throughout the entire coloring of your image. Number two, many times the shadows will pick up the environment, the area around your image. Colleen from the Copic International, she is wonderful, and she many times tells you to think about, if the object is living, to think of warm colors for your shadow. If it's something that takes place in a cold environment like ice or snow, to think in terms of a cool colored shadow. So on this one, I'm going to be going with, say, a blue shadow. And for this image, I colored her skin tones in kind of a medium colored skin tones, added a little blush, and I picked up some of the blue for her eye tone. I used a very warm toner gray for her hair. I like to vary the color of the shades of black sometimes, so I used a toner gray, which is a little bit warmer than the neutral or the sea. I colored the coral and everything in taupe colors. And I love the blue and the yellow green for her little body and her fins. I'm not going to really color the bubbles because I'm going to fussy cut around this image. But I did like to do a little bit of dotting technique on her body because I felt it gave a more realistic appearance of scales that one would associate with a mermaid. So I hope that looks realistic for you, as realistic as a mermaid can get. So I think she's so pretty. I also hit my image with Wink of Stella, and I used the clear Wink of Stella to add shimmer for the scales as well. Can you see that in the light? I love Wink of Stella. I think it adds such a nice touch. Now, as I said, we could have picked anything we wanted to color our shadow, but in this particular one, I wanted to choose something that would coordinate with the blue of my little mermaid and the blue of my background, because Thursday I will be doing a tutorial on how I created a seascape background, and I wanted to really feature the blue pigment of Sherri's new pigment line and show how I did the background and then added some blue watercolor splatter technique with Sherri's pigment. So that will be Thursday, but I wanted to pull that dark blue from her blue pigment and coordinate it with part of her little body and fins. And so I took that a blue rather than a blue-green for my shadow, for my white. So this is just a little sneak peek of what's coming up this Thursday. So now I'm going to be using B000 and blending out a little with B0000 for my shadow to begin with. And this will be a flicking technique, very light, almost barely touching the paper. Taking that wrist action and just flicking toward your highlight. You will not want to get carried away with this because, again, this is a shadow. Most of your image needs to remain white because it is a white image, but yet you'll need to add your shadow to the areas that are obscured from highlight. Or you will want the hat to have that kind of cylindrical look to it, to a shape. So to add dimension, you'll need to add your shadow. Anywhere where your light source is being blocked. But being careful to make it continue to look like a white hat rather than a blue hat. But you know, when she's kind of in the water and swimming around, she will pick up, it will be a little bit more shadowed than if she was sitting out in the sunlight. If she was out in the sun, I would have a little bit less of the bluish shadow. So do you see how it takes form and it still looks like a white hat? Now just under there, tucked under by her hair, there's a little darker area. That area will be even darker, and so I'm going to add a touch of B91 to that area. There's a lot more gray in a B91, and it will give it a more of a feeling of depth. Now you can take a little colorless blender and just flick out a little bit if you do not want any kind of a sharp edge. There will be times when you will want more of a crisp shadow edge. In that case, you would not use the colorless marker for that. But in this one, I'm going to make it just a smooth blending. But I will still not flick it totally into my highlight. There will be another video I'll do at some point where we do white, but we also will do something about how do we color the highlight of a white object when 70% of our image is already white. So that will be a fun little video I will do sometime in the future. So see, white does not need to be boring. We can always find new creative things to think about when you're coloring white on an image. So I think we have dimension and shading and highlight. So I'm putting a little bit of red because I just have to do this because she is a little bit of a nautical mermaid here with her little sailor hat. We're blending now with our shadow side, or at least our mid-tone. Here, our R22. Gonna make that a little bit darker on the very edges where we're going to be wanting the hat to curve. I'm gonna add some just for the sake of my theme. I know usually the ties I think are white, but we're gonna make it red just for a little bit more color. Adding a little more shadow with my R22. And blending with my highlight, my R20. So I hope you like this little image. She's really cute. She has her shadow. The hat looks rounded, but it still looks like it retains its color of white. So please come back and check out how I do this background on Thursday. I think you'll enjoy it. And again, we'll be using Sherri's Color-ology blue pigment, and I will be doing a splatter technique on that, a really simple, easy peasy way to add some interest to your background. And again, this image is Sherri's image 396. You're going to notice I added some beads to this as well, micro beads, and when I do my finished card, you'll notice I added some gold flakes of glitter that Sherri also sells in her store. So lots of fun. Have a wonderful day. If you view it on YouTube, hope you give it a thumbs up and make a comment. Let us know if you like it. Thank you.